me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
The big thing that I always tried to remember was just being present, right? Like not worrying about the next at bat or figuring out like what's going to happen next. It's kind of just being present where you are, just really embracing the opportunity that you have, that you're playing baseball, right? People would do a lot of things for the opportunity to play baseball. So I think that was the big thing that I always thought of that would calm me down and kind of put me into that locked in type of thought process.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, Young Professionals Network. In this episode, we welcome Michael Morrow, our very first intern and the rising host of the YPN show. Michael is a third-year senior from Widener University, a marketing major with a communications minor, and someone who grew up on the ball fields, volunteering in parks, and living the Parks and Rec experience long before he knew it would become his career pathway. In this episode, we dive into Michael's journey, how he's preparing for a fast-changing media landscape, and what young leaders like him need to succeed. We talk nerves, growth, mentorship, real-world reps, and why YPN exists, to build a national network of passionate early career pros who learn, lead, and lift each other. Let's dive in.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc again with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I guess I should go ahead and put the logo up for today's show. This is the Young Professionals Network Friday show with special guest, intern, and future host of the Young Professionals Network, Michael Morrow. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, I did want to play our thank you video, and then we're going to play a promotion on how strategic partners can help us build the first media company strictly for Parks and Recreation, and then we'll come back and continue our conversation with Michael.
300 episodes. What started as a small idea, a way to share stories from the Parks and Recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories that celebrate everyday heroes. Every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who continues to inspire us, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this, to tell stories that matter. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we celebrate our 300th episode, we look ahead to the next chapter. More stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move Parks and Rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right, so we're back with Michael. He is our first intern with the Daily Parks and Rec show. We've got a couple more in the pipeline as well. But we offered him to come on as our first intern and to help host this very show, the Young Professionals Network show. And so, Michael, why don't you start by just kind of telling us a little bit about yourself and your background, maybe who you were in high school and kind of where are you now in college and what's college like and what kind of degree are you pursuing?
Sweet. Um, so I'm a third year senior at Widener University. That's right. I'm in a small school right outside of Philadelphia. I say I'm a third year senior. I've been able to take enough credits to be able to graduate a full year early. So I've been having a heavier workload, but I've been able to manage it to get out earlier so I can start my career. But I grew up playing baseball. So every weekend I was at a different park playing under the lights, just anything that could possibly go down at a park. I was always outside, everything. During my high school years, I was able to volunteer at a couple of parks and do everything for Parks and Rec like that, volunteering. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're in you're pursuing a marketing degree?
Yeah, so I have a marketing major and then a minor in communications. When I came into school, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and then so I went in as a communications major, and then as I was taking that my first semester, I kind of realized like there's such small opportunity there to be a major sports announcer, just because nowadays the ex players get it. So I started to think about like where I could use communications within business, and marketing kind of went hand in hand with it. So I have a major in marketing and a minor in communications.
Yeah. Yeah. And what kind of stuff are you learning? Like say in marketing, what do some of your classes look like and what kind of the subjects that they're teaching you on?
Yeah, so a lot of it is like digital marketing, because in today's world everything is almost digital. So it's like different type of marketing research for how we're gonna target different audiences through digital marketing, right? So using social media and all the different platforms in order to find that target audience, figure out what's the problem and how we're going to solve it throughout marketing.
Yeah.
And then with communications, it's a lot of like right now I'm in a PR class, so learning how to like public relations, right? Like that's such a big thing, which I feel like it also goes hand in hand with marketing, because sometimes stuff isn't going to go right, or sometimes stuff will go right, and we have to be able to speak to the public about it.
Now, are they teaching you how to use any of the latest softwares or tools, or do they encourage, more YouTube content creation, short creation, or film, or kind of what are kind of the subject matters there?
Yeah, I mean, the big stuff that we're really talking about now that's kind of blowing up, especially in the younger generations, is like the short form content. So like the reels and the TikToks and stuff like that. And the main thing that we're really learning is like how to engage them, right? Because we've learned that you have around 3 seconds in that beginning of the video to really catch their attention and keep them, right? So they're either going to stay and watch that video within 3 seconds, or they're going to scroll to the next video. So being able to grab that attention and keep them there. So yeah, using the short form content, and then we've really learned how to use AI to our advantage, because at the end of the day, AI is so big in the world that we're in today. So being able to use AI to really benefit us, and yeah, like it's just such a big thing these days.
Now, have you of the short form video platforms, which one do you prefer or study? Is it like TikTok, Instagram, or Shorts or Reels, or which one?
Yeah, I mean, I think the TikTok is probably right now it has the biggest chance of blowing up and really just going viral. Just from the different studies that we've done. Instagram Reels is also a major one. So I think that realistically TikTok is probably the one that people are blowing up on the most and really going viral overnight on, where Instagram, you kind of already have following and you'll have videos hit for larger views and stuff, but TikTok's the one that I've really gradually went towards, because it just has that chance to just go viral overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Skylar, we had her on yesterday and you were kind of backstage with that one. She's up to almost
Yeah,
200,000.
exactly.
She created one little video and it's got over like 1.3 million hits, and you just
Right.
almost never know. Like, what do you think are some of the secret recipes aside from, yeah, you got 3 seconds, but then what are some of the ideas floating around in your head or in your classmates' heads that you're like, this is what creates a good hook or a good tripwire in that first 3 seconds?
Well, it's actually funny because I've been doing research on the TikTok stuff and how those clips work, and it kind of is like random if it hits people's For You pages and stuff. So
Mhm.
it's like almost like getting lucky on TikTok to an extent. Like it just hits the right people and you're able to stick with them. Um, but yeah, just like the hooks and stuff, like you said. So like I have a buddy that I help out with the marketing and stuff, and he runs a landscape business, and it's
Mhm.
really about like understanding like what other companies are doing that are really working really well, being able to implement that, but also add your own twist to it. So that way it's yours, and it's not you're just using their content. You're putting similar content, but with your own twist to it.
Yeah. And it's such a huge difference because I'll see like on Skylar's page or other pages, you'll see their most popular video. It's like a million hits or 900,000 hits, and you'll get like 2 or 3 of those. And then all the rest of them are like 1,000 hits.
Right,
And so,
exactly.
but they'll
It
have,
really is. It's crazy the way that that works.
yeah. And they'll have maybe, 200 shorts. 3 of them were hits. The other one were flops. The other
Right,
97 were flops.
exactly.
Um, What are your classmates kinda saying? Anything from their end, or what are the industries that they're creating around, or is it just people are trying to become influencers, or is there topics like sports that kinda interest you?
Yeah, I mean, well, sports always interested me, right? I'm a huge, I'm right outside of Philadelphia, so I'm a huge Philly sports fan.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously the sports are always flowing through my For You pages and my different reels and stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of like the TikTok and the Instagram, they go based off of what you've been watching, right? What you
Mhm.
interact with. So really it just depends on what you are interested in and what you've interacted with on their platforms, and yeah.
Yeah. Now, are they teaching any of the editing side of it? Like, after you create it, here's how you edit it, here's some of the software tools. What are some of the AI tools that you'll use, like Grok or ChatGPT, or which ones are kinda coming to the forefront?
Yeah, that's actually more in the communication side, is like the editing and stuff. So they have they call it Bootcast here at Widener.
Mhm.
And that's they have their own podcast and news station that they run out of. And there's like different podcast rooms that we could use as students here. Um, but yeah, that's more in the communication side, and I haven't really dug into that yet, just because of how like I'm taking an extra workload, so I don't have a ton of free time
Mhm.
on my plate. But when I do, I definitely will start to look into that. But I mean, ChatGPT is one of the big ones right now, and then yeah,
Yeah.
ChatGPT is the one that I see a lot here at school.
Yeah, it seems like in some of my feeds, it's I'll have, here are 10 AI platforms that you don't know about, that you're falling behind if you don't learn about, and it's all
Right,
these, I guess, competitors to ChatGPT, but it maybe focuses on just the visual image or the video or the sound, or even there's AIs now that you can produce, songs
right.
along, and it's just like an exploding industry.
Yeah, I mean, the on I've been seeing a ton of them on like Reels and TikToks, like you said, and it's called the Sora app, and it makes like videos, but it's all AI. So it's like some of them are really good, and then some of them you could tell are AI, but some of them you really have to like sit there and think like, is this AI or is this real?
Yeah, yeah. A buddy of mine sent me one. It was 50 Cent made of a music, a song on Mini Men, and somebody took it and made like a soul Motown blues version of it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah,
It wasn't his voice, 50 Cent's voice, but it was some other, like somebody was back in the 50s singing it, and it sounded like
right.
it was a song made back then. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
What
it
the,
is. It's absolutely nuts.
yeah. Um, so let's talk about that meeting we just had with California. What was your experience there? So for those of you who don't know, the Daily Parks and Rec Show has another component of it where we go live and in person to the state associations and help capture the event digitally, interview people, show up in person with all of our sound equipment and stuff to just record. And I asked Michael to hop on a call with California because they're considering bringing us on board as one of that. And so what were your thoughts about that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of like even that's kind of like what I've been learning in school, right? The business side of that, because I wasn't ready to hop into a whole entire business chat.
Yeah.
That wasn't really what I was expecting. But it was literally a business pitch to them about why they should join us and go with us. And I wasn't really ready for the kickback that they were going to give, but I think, like you said, it's good when that happens because it's needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one of the great questions that Henry asked, he was like, so what's in it for us? What's in it for you? What motivates you? What's your why? And so, what would have been your answer to that? What's in it for us? What's in it for y'all? How would you, and I know you have limited exposure to it, but I'm just curious
Yeah.
to get your
I
feedback.
almost did jump in. I was gonna unmute and just talk about you as a person because
Yeah.
I mean I've never even met you in person, right? And I reached out to you one day asking for an opportunity, and you've been nothing but helpful, right? I feel like I could text you at any time of the day, and you'll have an answer to help me for. So I was gonna jump in when he was asking about like your why and everything, and like you were talking about because they were almost confused, like why are you helping? Like you know what I mean? Like they were what are you getting out of it? They kept asking,
Yeah.
and you just kept talking about how it's like your passion, and it was like hard for them to realize like yeah, like this is a free thing that is helping them. And I almost did jump in and say like just talk about how you've been so helpful to me, and I've never even met you in person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Next time, just go ahead and jump on in because it's kind of like you almost just need the practice of telling your
Yeah.
story, of being comfortable in your own skin. Because until you start speaking, until you have just maybe 20 shows under your belt, there's just your mind, your mouth, your vocabulary just gets good at messaging, organizing the words, and you'll make a face plant and you'll learn from that face plant. And outside, I mean, you can talk about it in baseball, like how much did just repetition and practice play in honing your skill on baseball?
Right, exactly. I mean, it was every day, right? I got to play college baseball here at Widener for a year, and it was an everyday thing, right? We were going 6 days a week. There was lifts in the morning, practice at night, and it was like a full-time job. So just the daily reps, and it just makes you better.
Yeah. What about drills? Did y'all do any like fundamentals and drills where you would just do the same motion over and over and over again to really drill it down so that when this happens in a game, you're just not the first time you're seeing this? That's what drills are purpose. Maybe you can just speak about the purpose of drills in practice and college practice.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what we did every day, right? It was the fundamentals. Like every day you warm up and you throw and you catch, right? And that's the biggest part of baseball defensively. We would do the same drills in the batting cage every single day. After we would throw, we would do what they call pick series, and that's just working with your glove, right? And just taking ground balls. And that was like an everyday thing, but it, like you said, it when it happens in the game, you don't even think twice about it. It just comes to you naturally because you've worked on it so much. And I feel like that's kind of how this is too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what we're trying to provide is just opportunity for you to practice your skill set of presenting, of being on camera, of editing, of distributing, because at the end of the day, you can only read so much. It's kind of like asking an old World War II vet to describe what it was like to storm the beaches of Normandy. But no matter how well he describes it, you're just not there.
Right.
Nothing beats real world experience. And so that's kind of what we're trying to give you as an opportunity. What would you like to get out of an internship program with DPRS Media Company?
I mean, honestly, it's just all the experience, and I talked about it like with my family and my girlfriend, and it's like just learning from you, right? And it's bigger than just this. Like I was telling them like your story, and it's like you were just a businessman, right? Like you know how to run business, and
Mhm.
just learning from you anything that I can, like business wise. And then here, like even right now, like I wasn't nervous for this at all. And then once we start asking questions, like I start talking quicker, like my heart rate's getting a little bit. So just being able to be comfortable and present on here, and um, yeah, like learn anything I can, business wise and journalism wise, and yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I was kind of nervous with that California thing, and
Yeah.
I was having to control my breathing. I was started to do box breathing in the middle of it because as they started to ask, some tougher questions, I was like, this is the first time I've gotten hard pushback with the Daily Parks and Rec show and what we're trying to do. And so I had to go back into my head of when I was younger and I would be asked to speak in front of an audience. I was like, okay, what did you do? I have this thing I do with my hand where I just kind of put my fingers together, or I try to put that nervous energy into something else.
Right.
And it's like, man, after 49 years of speaking and in front of people and dealing with pushback, here I am still, still get, sometimes your nerves will just capture you, and you just
Yeah.
have to find these little tricks that kind of pull you back into that proper headspace.
Right.
Did you ever experience that when you play baseball? Like
Oh yeah.
you practice and all of a sudden you're playing a team and the pressure's on you. Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the I got jitters before every game, right? I mean, that was I've heard like professionals talk about it, and they're like, if you don't get nervous, then there's something wrong, right? Like
Right.
that's it's just normal. It's human. It's being human, right? And being nervous. And even though when I did play, like I took so many ground balls, right? Like going out there in the field, right? During the game, you're nervous, right? Like there's always that little bit of like not I wouldn't say anxiety, but just it's like excitement to a point too, where it gets you going.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy how sometimes you're just phenomenal at the drill in practice, but when the lights are on and the pressure's on, it's like, how did I miss that? And I've
Right.
done this 1,000 times, and all of a sudden it's, you put the uniform on and the pressure of the game and the crowd screaming, and you make a mistake that you would have never made in practice. I wonder where that comes from.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's always something when but I think that's where we thrive. Like that's where learning happens. I like to think of that sword that just has to be beaten and beaten and beaten and then thrown back into the fire and heated up and then taken out and beaten. And then finally, after years of beaten, you get to the polishing stage.
Right.
And it's only after, you're in that crucible that something pure comes out of it. And it's where you just eliminate all those purities. And there's those impurities. There's almost no other way, no other path to mastery outside of just, repetition, getting in there and finding out, okay, where are my flaws? Where are my weaknesses? How can I improve? And then you get to see your mistakes head on. You get to see your failures head on. Otherwise, if you're never failing, then you're never discovering where your weaknesses are. You're never shoring it up.
Exactly.
Did y'all's coaches ever kind of talk on these topics? Because I know athletics is very, I mean, you're constantly trying to improve your skill set there.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing that I always tried to remember was just being present, right? Like not worrying about the next at bat or figuring out like what's going to happen next. It's kind of just being present where you are, and just really embracing the opportunity that you have, that you're playing baseball, right? People would do a lot of things for the opportunity to play baseball. And so I think that was the big thing that I always thought of that would calm me down and kind of put me into that locked in
Yeah.
type of thought process.
Yeah. Any tricks of the trade as far as getting present, trying to get out of your own head? Were there any little things that you did to try to, make you more focused on the present moment and not worry so much about what if?
Kind of like you said, like just breathing differently, right? Like taking your deep breaths or the box breathing, like you said. And yeah, like just that was how I usually handled it, was breathing and just calming down,
Yeah.
trying to lower your heart rate down a little bit.
Yeah. Now, what'd your family say when you told them that you were going to do this?
Yeah, they were excited. Especially like it goes on your resume. It looks so cool for that too, because it's like I didn't really have any internships going into this in this field. Like I did more hand like right into a company. So having the internship is just really cool because it's so hands-on, and
Yeah.
I'm getting put right into it.
Yeah, and that's kind of our goal. My goal is to, as I'm thinking more about this, I'm like, how can I prepare Michael to have and start his own media company, or to be able to at least work full time with a media company and something he's passionate about? What are the skills he's going to need? What are the things he'll need to practice? And me and you will kind of build that, I guess you could call it a curriculum out. And so, this goes out to all the future interns. Me and Michael are over here building the roadmap, and hopefully your journey will be a little bit easier, or maybe even more challenging, because we're coming up with all the drills that you'll have to go through. So
Right.
if our program is too hard, you can thank Michael for helping us to create a challenging program that really prepares you for a future in broadcast journalism.
Exactly.
All right, so what I'll do is I wanted to play a couple of our other promos. One of them is Youth Sports Mastery. So that's our Thursday show. I don't know if you've caught that, but Aaron Locks has some of the biggest networks when it comes to sports and coaching. I mean, he brings in some heavy hitters. He's been in youth sports for over 40 years, and he hosts our Thursday show every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So I'd like to play that real quick, and then I'll play a promo. Actually, before I hit that, I'm going to play the promo for this actual show. So this show is called the Young Professionals Network, and its purpose is to focus on people just like Michael that are coming into the industry of Parks and Rec and helping to just raise awareness around the industry, but then also create a network of young professionals that kind of have each other, and then we're kind of assisting them. So that's the purpose of this Friday show. And there's actually Young Professional Network chapters across America, nearly in every state. Some of their states are in some version of trying to either launch or on their first or second year. And then I think YPN is approaching its 10th year from NRPA, which is the National Parks and Rec Association. So we'll play that promo for today's show, and followed by the Youth Sports Mastery promo, and then we'll come up and finish our conversation with Michael.
Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content, we elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
All right, so any thoughts on those two promos?
Yeah, I mean, just from the marketing aspect, right? You can really tell the target audience, right? The youth sports one, it's any parents or parents of young kids that are looking to get their kids into the youth sports and just promoting it there. So I think that the different commercials that you guys play, you could always tell who the target audience is from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so who do you think would be good? So I have a whole network of, and we can go into, how we're going to build out this internship program for you. One thing I've learned about creating content, I like to just go live and bring people back into the kitchen, and show people the sausage making of it all. So what I'd like to start doing with you is kind of brainstorming. Imagine you've got a young professional that's like yourself, a student studying to pursue a career in parks and recreation. Let's brainstorm on some common questions that we would ask them.
Hmm.
Let's see. One obvious one is why. Let's see. Why did you choose? Why did you choose Parks and Rec as a career path?
Right.
Did you choose? And I'll type these up for you. We'll improve this list as we go. What's another one we can think of?
Now, would it be like college students, or would this be people that are out of college, or?
Both. So these are ones that are recently graduated, usually within 4 years of graduation, 4 to 5 years of graduation. So a young professional is considered someone that's a freshman in college all the way to 5 years after graduation. So that's like a 9 to 10-year span. They like to say in their 30s or younger than 30. So 18 to 30 would be
Well, then
considered a young professional.
maybe asking what type of courses did you or are you taking
Mm.
in order to have a career in the Parks and Rec?
What type of courses did you?
Because like from my perspective, like I would have no idea where to start here at Widener, with if I wanted to go into the Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So like that would just be good for anybody, young listeners that are watching, to learn like what they have to take in order to be able to work in the Parks and Rec.
Right. I'm going to give you a trick of the trade that I learned. When I started the Bitcoin Daily Show, I was probably the least informed Bitcoiner on the stage. And one thing I saw is people that had a deep understanding of Bitcoin were not talking. They weren't speaking up. When they would talk to me individually, they would just like explode with information. And I'm like, dude, why don't you record that and say it? It's hugely valuable to me. I
Right.
know it's valuable to me, it's going to be valuable to everybody else. So what I had to do to kind of push them over the ledge, I started the Bitcoin Daily Show. And then some new guy would come up and say, can you explain what a hardware wallet is? And I would start off by saying, okay, I'm going to give a horrible definition of what a wallet is. But if anyone in the audience would like to come up and correct me, please do so. So then I would just give the worst definition I could think of. And sure enough, hands would start raising and they would start saying, well,
Right.
Craig, you're not totally wrong, but let me help you out a little bit here. And it was a
Yeah.
way for me to kind of not be an expert, but still pull that mastery out of my audience. And so you might not have a career in parks and recreation
Right.
and ever. And you're definitely not going to be overnight a 30-year veteran in the industry, but you're talking to someone whose maybe mom has been in Parks and Rec for 30 years and they've been in it
Exactly.
their whole life. And so you're just kind of facilitating them telling their story. So a lot of times when they'll say, well, in therapeutic recreation, and I'll be like, well, can I pause you for a second there? Can you define for those that don't know, what is therapeutic recreation? Because I'm not familiar with it. And then you've just bought yourself 5 minutes and a great explanation.
Right.
And now you're actually learning live. And so after I did 700 shows on Bitcoin, I became an expert just by listening to my audience.
Right. And
In
learning from
the
them.
That's it. I just learned live with the rest of my audience. And I would even present myself as a student of Bitcoin. Like, I'm here to learn. All I
Right.
do is show up, turn on the mic, press record. The real wisdom is in my guest, is in my
Right.
audience. And that way you're no longer pretending to be an expert. You're like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to share this message, but they have the message. So kind of and when you're a interviewer, that's really all you are. You're not an expert in their industry. You're not an expert in them. All obviously every person is an expert in themselves. You're just allowing them to share their story. So don't feel like you have to know everything about this industry, because as you saw in our conversation, that they were quick to highlight, but you've never worked in this industry for 30 years. How do you get this?
Right.
And I'm like, man, I'm just here to turn the lights on. That's it.
Exactly.
It's kind of a hack that I learned. So any other questions we can think of? Let's see. And I'll just put that as, can you define ... whatever it is that you don't understand. And when you start interviewing Parks and Rec professionals, they'll start throwing vocabulary out there, and you're like, I don't even know what therapeutic recreation is.
Right.
And then they'll just go off for like 10 minutes on what therapeutic recreation is.
Exactly.
And then in that explanation, if they say something within the explanation that I don't even understand what that word means, can you define that? And then you can spend the whole episode literally just asking them to help you build a vocabulary and a glossary.
Right.
So that's one hack that I've learned after interviewing so many people in an industry I'm not well versed in.
Maybe we could ask like what like where they see themselves within 10 years.
Oh, I love that one.
In the Parks and Rec, or 20 years, or wherever.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years? And then here's another one. Here's another good one. What do you think are the biggest problems you see that Parks and Rec is facing?
Exactly.
You see. Now, how can we frame that from the perspective of a new person coming in?
What do you mean? Like explain what you mean by new person coming in? From their perspective coming in, or like my perspective as a new person in Parks and Rec?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, what do you think is the biggest problem that Parks and Rec has with regards to getting new people involved, new talent involved?
I understand. Yeah, right. Something along that lines.
Problems in the industry. And then another one is how can this industry help attract future talent? That's another good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you want to do is just to create, 2 hours of questions.
Right.
You're only doing like a 1 hour show, but if you got 2 or 3 hours of questions, then as things kind of get slow, because sometimes you'll ask one of these questions like here's another big one. What is your why? And now that can buy you 5 minutes. That can buy you 5 hours. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask.
But it all depends on the person.
Yeah, that's right. Here's another big one. What role do you think AI is going to play in Parks and Rec?
Yeah, right.
What role? Now, what you'll see is these are very neutral questions that I could say, what role do you think AI will play in? And you could ask this about any industry. So let's just say after your internship, you go start a baseball podcast or something like that, or maybe just for your city or just for the protein that you love. You could say, and let's say you've got a pro player, it's like, what's your why? And so you can ask anybody what their why is, and you're going to get a response.
Exactly.
How can this industry, how's it going to attract future talent? So you can have very, very generic questions as an interviewer. That you could ask almost anyone.
Right.
Do you know what a follow-on question is? That's another big one.
Just it's another question based on their response, right?
Yes, that's where you get the gold. Like the gold in an interview is on the third or fourth question that you've asked after a first question. So it's like, tell me your why, and then they start telling you why. It's like, oh, really? I didn't know that you had that in your childhood. What was that like?
Right, exactly.
And they tell you even more, and it's like, Yeah, and you just get him to go. It's like peeling back those layers of the onion, just going deeper and deeper and deeper. And you can really do that with any. There was a great book written by oh, what's the name of it? It's not Think and Grow Rich. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, we actually just read that in
No way.
my marketing class.
What'd you think about it?
It was like bigger than just like business, right? It was like how you can change stuff in your life to make friends. Like you said, the book's name is How to Make Friends and Influence People. Like it was just stuff that you put into your daily life, right? Like smiling more. That was one of the big ones. Like just smiling.
That's
When
it.
people see like you're a friendly person because you smile more, they're more likely to gravitate towards you. So it was a really cool book to read.
Yeah, I remember Jim Rohn was another guy I used to listen to. He would say people will pay more for a person that just whistles while they work than someone who's just miserable while they work.
Right. Exactly.
They're happy to be around and stuff. But I remember in How to Win Friends and Influence People, he was like, in every person you find a master that can teach you something. And so I think that's the sign of a good interviewer, is someone that's just curious and interested in the story that's right in front of them in the flesh and blood, and just helping to pull out that story, just having good, strong open-ended interview questions available so that they can just tell their story, and you're just providing the platform. Are there any interviewers or shows that you watch?
Like podcasts?
Yeah. Well, even if it's just like a YouTube channel or like a sports broadcaster, or kind of, which ones would you say I kind of look up to?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I always listen to Joe Rogan's podcast because
he's the master.
Yeah, like he literally is the master of podcasts. I listen to the Sean Ryan podcast because
I'll do both of those.
Yeah, like he's really interesting to talk to because he's talking to ex-military, and that stuff kind of just I find really interesting. And then some of the different
like about their style.
Well, Joe Rogan, like you were saying, he's so good at the follow-up questions and like keeping them engaged into what they're talking about, and he kind of knows a little bit about everything, it feels like. And I feel like that's probably just because he's had so many episodes and he's learned so much from so many different people, right? He literally has thousands of episodes. The Sean Ryan one, I think it's more of just what they're talking about that I find really interesting. But yeah. And then some of the different like YouTube channels, I watch these YouTubers, they're called the Sea Boys, right? They do like outdoor stuff, right? They quad and dirt bike and they motor swap stuff. And I watch them, and they have a podcast called the Life Wide Open podcast. And like, I'll listen to that. And it's just a group of buddies just sitting down and talking every day about anything going on.
Have you ever heard of Dr. Jordan Peterson? You seen any of his stuff?
Jordan Peterson sounds like the name sounds really familiar, but probably if I saw a picture of him.
Yeah, he's a clinical psychologist that he's got about 5 million followers, but he really is kind of a deep thinker. Talks a lot about psychology and stuff. Has a podcast of his own where he does a couple-hour interviews. But he came on Joe Rogan, and he's really good at picking people apart from a psychological standpoint, because he was a clinical psychologist that has thousands of patients that have come through his career.
Right.
I remember when he was on Joe Rogan's interview, he was like, you come across as this like knuckle dragging ape of a man, but you're anything but that. You kind of lure people in with I'm harmless and stupid. And the next thing you know, you're just pounding them with these questions that's making them go deeper, and you're challenging them. You don't just like take it at face value. You'll confront them with something that you don't agree with.
Yeah, right. That's the other thing that I enjoy about listening to him is like, if he doesn't agree with something, like he's gonna tell you that he disagrees, but it's not in like let's fight about it. It's in like a let's debate about it in a normal way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's able to do it for 3 and 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I remember he said you can hide in an hour. 3 hours, there's no hiding.
Exactly.
If you're faking it, he'll smoke you out on the back end of the interview.
Right.
You know, because I know a lot of these politicians, they have like their script of I've got a 20-minute interview, and so they'll throw a few
Exactly.
questions on me, but I'm out, and so I just got to survive for 30 minutes.
Right.
Now imagine trying to survive for 3 hours in front of Joe Rogan.
Exactly.
It's
Just
just
getting
that's
grilled.
hard. Right. Yeah, imagine if that California interview went on for like another 3 hours. I know
I
they
think
might.
it could have probably, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so well versed in, and I think, like you said, Joe Rogan just has so many interviews under his belt. And after doing 300 interviews in the Parks and Rec community, I've heard so many different angles that this
Right.
community sees Parks and Rec that I'm well versed at understanding, I guess, the spirit of Parks and Rec. And that's kind of what you'll do. If you decide to create media on a certain niche topic, you become a master of it because everybody else, even your guests, you're bringing them on to speak maybe 1 or 2 times in their life where they've done like a 1 or 2 hour interview, but not for you. This might be your 100th time talking about this one topic.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you just attain such a high degree of mastery at that point. All right, what are some other questions we got? Why did you choose Park and Rec? What type of course did you take in Parks and Rec? Can you define where do you see yourself in 20 years? What do you see
Maybe
as the
like
biggest?
one thing that came to my mind was like, what would you tell a high schooler that doesn't know what he wants to do, but he's thinking about getting into Parks and Rec? Like, what would be your pitch to them? You know?
Yes, that's another good one. I actually ask that one pretty regularly. What would be your pitch?
Right.
What would be your pitch? Another one is where is Parks and Rec struggling,
Right.
as an industry?
Yeah.
Or what is the biggest threat to Parks and Rec?
I'm trying to think what else we could do. This is where the AI is really cool.
Yeah, and unfortunately, at least right now, our stuff is live. And
Yeah.
so
Right. Exactly.
you don't have a chance to like enter it into Grok real quick. Get a
Yeah.
response. You're like, and that's what I love about Joe Rogan stuff. It's like, buddy, we're live. Here
For
we
like
go.
you said, 3 hours. Like there is no.
Yeah. Sean Ryan too. He does the same
Yeah.
thing. He goes live for a long time.
Yeah.
Um,
And he goes through like literally their entire life. Like he starts from the very, very beginning and
Yeah.
just has you take him through everything.
yeah. Well, hey, let's do that with you. So,
Yeah.
what was your childhood like?
Well, grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
What's your mom and dad do?
My
What-
dad's in the carpenters union,
Mhm.
so he does blue collar.
Mhm.
He's higher up now, so he's more in like a business role.
Right.
And then my mom is an art teacher, so
What type of art?
she's a middle school art teacher, so she does a little bit of everything. But she went
Yeah.
to school for graphic design and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
but yeah, I grew up in Bucks County, which is about 45 minutes from downtown center city of Philadelphia.
Any siblings?
Yeah, I have a sister. She's in her senior year of high school now. And yeah, I mean, we grew up. I played baseball. I played football.
Does she play any sports?
Yeah, so she plays field hockey right now and
Mhm.
lacrosse, but she has the opportunity to play college lacrosse. But she's not sure if she wants to do that. She wants to go to like a school like Pitt or something like that.
Yeah.
So she's in that tight time now where she has to figure out where she's going to college and what's going on there. But yeah, I grew up playing baseball, and baseball was a pretty big thing in my life. I did have a YouTube channel when I was little.
No way. What was it called?
It was just Mike Morrow, and I posted a video. It was a "What's in my baseball bag" video, and it got 56,000 views, and I thought I was the man.
You were the man back then.
Yeah, right.
How old were you?
I probably like 11 or 12.
No way.
Yeah, so that blew up, and then I tried to post more, and I would get like a couple thousand views here and there. But it's
Yeah.
funny looking back on it now and how little I was and my voice in all the videos and stuff. But
Should have kept going.
I know, right? But yeah, and then baseball kind of took over, and I played baseball. It was a major part of my life, and then graduated and went to play college ball, and then yeah, I'm graduating early now to get out and start my career.
Now, did your parents play any sports, or did they grow up playing sports, or did your dad coach or anything like that?
No, my dad never played any. He's a big hockey fan, so he watches the Flyers a lot, which they kind of been stinking the last couple of years. But
Yeah.
And then my mom, she played in high school. She played a couple sports and then didn't play in college or anything. But she's a big Birds fan, so me and her watch the games on Sundays. And big Phillies fan too. We go to a lot of games throughout the year. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you actually live in the city limits of Philadelphia? Or
So
around
I'm
the
right
area?
outside. I'm in what's called Chester, which is the city of Chester, but I'm 10 minutes from the Philadelphia airport, and I could get to the Philadelphia stadiums in 15 minutes. So
All right. So what's it like living that close or inside the Philly metropolitan airport, just as a big city?
yeah, I mean, my school is right next to 95, which runs all the way down the East Coast. But like I had a September season ticket planned to the Phillies, and I would hop right on 95 after class and go down every day in September. And it would take me 15 minutes to get down there, and I'd watch the Phillies, and I'd be back home in 15 minutes. And it was an awesome thing. And then the airport's right there, so if you're ever leaving, it's easy to get out. It was just growing up around there, around the city, having everything right there. It was really nice because you get both aspects of, like, it's more like a suburban in Bucks County, where I grew up and live, and then the city's right there, but you could go 2 hours and you're in the Pocono Mountains, or you go 2 hours the other way and you're on the Jersey Shore. So it's like there's everything right there.
Now, what's the music and food culture like?
It's a little bit of everything, honestly. Down here at school, it's more, it's just everything, right? Like, especially on a college campus, it's so diverse. There's literally a little bit of everything. I'm personally, like, I like my country music. I like going out and fishing and hunting and doing all that kind of stuff.
What's your favorite country singer?
Right now it's probably Zach Bryan or maybe Tyler Childers, but yeah,
that's good stuff. Now, how's the economy doing? Is it kind of a growing city? It's kind of stagnant. I mean, what do you have, like 6 million people in that kind of region?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not that up to date with Philadelphia, but like Widener is building up. Widener's in the middle of Chester, and like each year the amount of students coming to Widener is continuing to grow. So it's kind of building up around it too, like, because people need housing and people need food and everything like that. So it is building up the economy a little bit around the city of Chester, which is nice. For Philadelphia, I'm not a huge. I know, like, this year the 250th anniversary of the United States is coming back to Philly, right? So it's like, like, that's going to bring in a ton of money and economy to Philly. So I'm excited for that too, because just with everything going on, and then the Phillies have the All-Star game here next year, so that'll be bringing in a lot of money to the city of Philadelphia too. So yeah.
So I'll ask you one of the questions that we came up with. So where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Honestly, I don't have a great answer. I would say working in the marketing area, and then just being able to support a family, right? I want to be able to have my own house and live financially free, and just somewhere that I can do that.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get you into Bitcoin to help with that financial freedom part.
Right, exactly.
That's helped me out a lot, helped me understand finance, and you almost have to start getting a financial degree on your own through YouTube to even understand what you're looking at there.
Right.
your financial vocabulary, you'll find out, is just kind of under what it should be. Okay, so why did you choose, kind of what was attractive to you about this whole marketing component, or as opposed to maybe following your dad's footsteps or becoming an engineer or anything like that?
Yeah.
Why did media attract you?
Well, it going in wanting to do communications,
Mhm.
right? I feel like I do a good job at being able to communicate with people. So being able to once I realized that I wanted to go into some sort of business side of it,
Mhm.
I felt like marketing, I was able to like communicate with the people on what needs to be done in order to, like we always talk about in class, like marketing research, right? So like for instance, I'm doing a project right now and it's about the Phillies, right? There are always about 4,000 to 5,000 fans that they're missing throughout every game, every home game. So like our project, we had to set up a survey and then give it to the people, right? So being able to communicate with these people on why are we not able to fill these last thousands of seats, which is costing them, it's like $700,000 a game, which
Mhm.
throughout 82 games is a lot of money that they're missing out on right there. So being able to communicate with these people and then being able to use that to be able to do my job, I thought that was kind of what drew me in.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Gary V by any chance?
Gary V.
Gary Vaynerchuk?
Is he an influencer?
He is. He also owns a big media company, has about 1,000 employees based out of New York. But
I feel like, does he go around and like ask people stuff?
yeah, I mean, that's kind of, he was just one of those guys that just produced tons and tons of content. He's probably produced more content than anybody other content creator I've ever seen. But he's older now. He's got to be in his 50s, but he is just a Russian immigrant, or his parents were Russian immigrants, came to New York, worked at a wine store, started wine library kind of stuff. But that'll be some good homework for you. Look up Gary V and get on his content, because I think if you're in marketing, he is like on the cutting edge of content creation, and he always just has called Instagram before it was Instagram. He called Reels before it was Reels. He's called
Right.
AI. He's just coined so much in the marketing world. And I just think it's one of the masters that if you're really going to pursue this, he's a great influencer to kind of have in your head. And he's got really good YouTube channels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been following him.
Definitely will look into that.
And then as an entrepreneur, gosh, if you're an entrepreneur, you really need to listen to him. But he kind of skews more towards marketing, content creation, social media. I think he coined the phrase interest media. Have you heard that term before? Interest media?
Nah.
So I just stumbled upon it probably in the last few months. But he said social media is dead, and what we have now is interest media, which means we are now only watching content, not because
Right.
of the size of your audience, the size of the influencer's audience, but because we're interested in the topic they're speaking
Right.
on. And so I noticed, like with space and like the SpaceX stuff and Tesla stuff and AI stuff, my entire feed was just filled with stuff I was interested in.
Exactly.
And I think, is that kind of how your feed is categorized, and just your
Yeah,
interest?
definitely. Like
Yeah.
mine is just full of sports, like Philly sports and stuff like that. That just stay on my page.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I see we're kind of coming up to the 1 hour mark. So any final remarks of kind of, what you'd like this to turn out to be, or kind of any nervousness or excitement around, any statements at all?
Well, I just want to thank you again for giving
No
me the
problem.
opportunity to do this. I think it's really cool. Um, but yeah, I think just getting comfortable talking to people through this, right, where it's recorded. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm gonna have to get used to and learn how to
Yeah.
do.
It takes some time, man. I remember my first episodes, I was just like, oh my gosh, I am doing faceplant after faceplant. But eventually you just get better and better. And I used to get so nervous around silence. I was like, oh my gosh, there was 2 seconds of silence. I'm a failure. Everybody's going to kick me off.
Yeah, exactly.
But eventually you learn to just fill the voids and be okay with it, and then just come up with your next question and just say, well, that show was a train wreck. Let's just show up the next day and try it again.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to you. I've got a couple of YPN people that are kind of in leadership in YPN, and all that means is, let's just say you're in your first, second year of leadership, and your local state is starting a chapter of YPN, and he's like, okay, I'll volunteer to be the president. I don't know what that means, but I'll figure it out over the course of the year. And then so just people that have volunteered to jump on the YPN bandwagon, and I think they would be good interviews for you. And you could even start the show by saying, I know nothing about YPN. Can you just help teach me about what it's like to be a young professional and what Parks and Rec is? And it can just be a discovery. The first few shows can just be a discovery. And I'll make sure I'll send you like some home runs that are going to be just like some all-stars in this industry.
Right.
Professional network. I've got a couple of girls and guys that are like 1 to 30 under 30 nationwide. And so they're like one of 30 people across the country that have been nominated for just really good in Parks and Rec. So
sweet.
But all right, man. Well, have a great weekend. You got anything planned for the weekend?
Just watching the birds. Right?
That's it.
So, yeah.
That's it. Well, man, thank you for coming on the show today, and I appreciate you kind of coming on as our first intern. Can't wait to see what we can build together, and I'm excited to having you host the YPN show for the Daily Parks and Rec show. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good day, man. All right. Take care. All right. So that was our latest version of the Young Professionals Network. We've got a great intern in Michael, who is over there in the Philly area going to school for marketing. And we've actually opened up our internship program. We could probably take on 2 or 3 more interns that are going to help us produce content, and at the same time learn so much about what social media and content, building communities, editing, distributing the content. And so I think it's a really good opportunity for a college person to just get experience that they need, because I know, especially if they're pursuing a career, a lot of people want to know, well, what's your experience? I mean, if all you have is a college degree and then you're sitting next to somebody who's got a college degree and an internship experience, then that's obviously going to be more valuable to an employer, somebody that's got, a little understanding of what they might be doing. And so hopefully you can sign up with the Daily Parks and Rec show and get a solid, 3 to 6 months of experience building content for the industry of parks and recreation, doing interviews and editing, distributing, all that kind of stuff. I think that's just going to be hugely valuable to you and kind of add to your soft skills and hard skill set that you'll really need if you're going to go into the industry of marketing. And then I think there may be some opportunity for some of these Parks and Rec departments to then find you, discover you, and hire you to maybe be their marketing person for their Parks and Rec community. And I think every Parks and Rec community throughout America needs marketing talent to get the word out about all the stuff they're doing in their local community for special events, programming, you name it. And so I think it's going to be a good relationship. And I'm so glad that we finally pulled the trigger on our first intern. And shout out to Thomas White, who's doing a great job at Henry County, Georgia with interns, and kind of inspired me to kind of put my time and money where my mouth is, and let's go find an intern and start to kind of give back to that the next generation of leaders in our country and in the Parks and Rec community. So, all right. So there's a solid week there. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We will be here. I'm trying to think. We've got one more week before we leave for the Georgia Parks and Rec convention. So T-minus 1 week where we go Georgia Parks and Rec State Convention, followed by Kentucky, followed by Louisiana. We'll be hitting the road, taking the show on the road. So this is going to be really exciting. Do a lot of interviews live from the state convention. So looking forward to that. And everybody, y'all just have an awesome weekend. Thank y'all for the love and support. I'm going to play my 300th episode. Thank you. And we will see y'all here on Monday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
300 episodes. What started as a small idea, a way to share stories from the parks and recreation community, has grown into something truly special. From heartfelt conversations to behind-the-scenes stories that celebrate everyday heroes, Every episode, every message, every listen has been powered by you. To our loyal listeners, our partners, and every Parks and Rec professional who continues to inspire us, thank you. You've helped us grow, you've helped us evolve, and you've reminded us why we do this, to tell stories that matter. This milestone isn't just ours, it's yours too. As we celebrate our 300th episode, we look ahead to the next chapter. More stories, more community, more impact. From all of us here at DPRS Media Company, thank you for believing in us, for tuning in, and for helping us make it this far. Here's to the next 300 episodes and beyond.
At DPRS Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.